I had forgotten that there were tribes and subsects of Christians that hate me. Literally, I think they despise me. And a lot of their comments were around things such as, bump it, man. I'm gonna be candid. Lecrae supports abortion. Lecrae is a liberal leftist who hates God, and Lecrae goes to Diddy parties.
No, God, please, no, 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 no!
Yokohama class, from Alabama to Baltimore, somehow ended up in Kawagoe, Kowedo, Dinko, Shigaya, and now we do the war, my new home. Yeah, they know. It's your boy, Dory Darrell, got another story to tell.
Dorian Andrews, aka Dory Darrell, with the Dory Darrell Music Channel. I want to thank all of you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And today I want to talk to you guys about one of my favorite artists when I was growing up, and his name is Lecrae. Lecrae is one of the most polarizing figures in the gospel and Christian communities because recent work has been kind of diluted and more focused on the mainstream appeal, and he has a lot of lyrics that are relatable and personal, which I love. But when you compare that to the music that he first came out with, which was more Bible focused, that I don't really hear as much in his recent work. So I wonder why that happened. And I have a clear idea of why. Lecrae Devon Moore is a Christian rapper, and even if he says he's not a Christian rapper, he's just a rapper who's Christian.
You sure about that?
He started in 2004 with his album Real Talk, and then after the music stops is when I first listened to him in 2006. Riding with my top down, listening to this Jesus. Like, that was so good back in the day. And then when he really got popular was 2008 with his album Rebel. That was an awesome album. I think that might be one of my favorite albums from Lecrae. That might be like number 2. I don't know about number 1, but it could be number 2, I would say. And then Rehab was 2010, and then you started seeing him get the mainstream attention that he was seeking. And he was having a lot of success with his singles, such as Background and Just Like You. They were very personal, very emotional songs, and it's telling his story, right? But he's also talking about his relationship with Jesus, which is really cool. During that era, a lot of people liked Lecrae, even though Christian naysayers who are very religious and very traditional, they were like, hey, we don't want this hip hop stuff in our homes with our children. That's of the world. We don't want that. And then he started getting even more mainstream with Anomaly. He was the first hip hop artist to win the Best Gospel Album at the 55th Grammy Awards. He won the 2013 award for his album Gravity, and I love that album. That was a really good album. He created Reach Records. After he signed with Columbia Records in 2016, he made Church Clothes 3, and you could see that the mainstream appeal was still there, Christian, and I loved that. And then I think at the 46th GMA Dove Awards, he won Best Gospel Artist. I think he won a BET Award as well, so he started getting a lot of recognition. As Lecrae said himself, if you live for their acceptance, you die from their rejection. Somewhere along the way, he lost his faith because of people turning their back on him.
To the point where I stopped believing that this faith was real. It started small. It started with me just wanting, to care for the families of people like Trayvon Martin or Mike Brown. I was beat up by Christians who said I had a leftist agenda for caring about unarmed individuals who were murdered. I was destroyed online. People said they didn't want me coming out to do shows. And it really did a number on me. There are pastors who literally that I shook their hands that I've hugged them, that they said, man, God bless you, who have gone on public tirades talking crazy about me. A very prominent leader who I went to go see, who I've walked with, called me an ethnic Gnostic. I was veering away from the faith and highlighting race and ethnicity over Jesus. And I'm like, man, it just hurt. It hurt because this person could have reached out to me, could have said, hey, Lecrae, I know we've met, we've talked. Man, I'd love to sit down with you and have a discussion with you, brother. Like, I hear where you're going and let's see what you're wrestling with. That would have been amazing. Did it ever happen? It never happened. What did happen was I got slandered. Now, what did that do to a young man in his faith? Crushed, made me start to wither, made me start to doubt, made me start to wonder if this thing was even real.
Now, let's get into the juicy stuff. Church Clothes 1 is probably one of my favorite albums of Lecrae. That might be number 1, actually. But even then, you see him talking with Kendrick Lamar, and you see him with DJ Cannon, and he's getting this mainstream acclaim, collaborating with people who are not in the Christian mainstream. They're in the secular mainstream. For people to be surprised that he is talking on his podcast with people who are not Christian, it's no surprise to me, because that's what he's been doing. He's been living for their acceptance, even though he quoted, "You die for their rejection." Like, he's talking about himself. I do like that he's very candid about his emotions and that he struggles with that. So for him to feel that he still needs to be in these spaces with these secular artists is kind of sad, because he does have a family to feed and he has to take care of them. But as the leader of your house, consult with God about certain places that you need to go to and certain places that you shouldn't go to.
Y'all want to talk about the parties? Because I know people want to bring up the parties all the time.
I would never think, as an artist, I am a musician, I would never want to go to a Diddy party. I would never want to talk with Snoop Dogg. I would never want to be around people who I know aren't gonna really impact my life in a positive way. Now, mind you, if we're having an open dialogue, that's fine. But to go out to these parties and want to fit in with them and want to be cool, like, that's not what my mission is. Like, I'm totally fine with him taking pictures with people and stuff, but if you're sitting down and having an open dialogue with people and you never challenge them, sometimes it sounds like hate, but it's not. It's just doing it in love, you know, tough love. You know, sometimes I wish Lecrae would be a little bit tougher on people. I did not like the fact that he just kind of affirms people sometimes. The whole dancing and, you know, dressing crazy. He's like, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm like, well, it's your image. I'm a normal, regular Joe. Most people aren't going to really care. But even if I'm at work, I can't wear jeans. That's company policy. I can't wear a t-shirt to work. I can't wear a graphic tee to work. That's company policy. It's the same thing with being a musician with bright lights and being famous. You can't do certain things because it's a job. A lot of people feel like, oh, he attacked me. Oh my God, why? I'm getting all this hate. I'm like, this is your job. Unfortunately for you, you have a lot more eyes on you than a regular person. So if I go to work like this, I'm gonna have everybody, all of my students, my staff, you know, the other teachers and the managers, they're gonna look at me like,
You sure about that?
No.
that might be a lot to handle for normal people. So you can imagine how much it takes to deal with people who criticize you, you know, on a daily as a musician. Millions of people. But that's what comes with the territory. So I want to reference 2 recent podcasts that he put out. Lecrae was talking about how he actually went to a Diddy party. Things started happening and it was like weird, and he was like, okay, I gotta get out of here. At first he was like, I'm gonna be all right. Once he started seeing the room change, people of the same gender doing physical activities, he was like, I gotta get out of here.
I've been to lots of parties. I've been to Jamie Foxx. I've been with Snoop, T.I. Like, I've been to lots of places. I was at one of these parties, and for me, I'll be honest, it was a mix of work, because this is oftentimes where you go to connect with people, where you go to meet people. And I have met people here and I have built bonds, and they have said, I have met actors and celebrities who said, man, thank you for being here. I needed your presence here. You're the reason why I know God is walking with me.
You sure about that?
How you gonna be a light if you never in the dark? Now, if you cannot handle being in the dark, stay up out of certain places. Crew, like, look at me. Yes, I struggle with acceptance and wanting to be associated with greatness. And I got caught up in some of that nonsense internally. Lots of big names. There was an artist there who said, hey, Lecrae, around 1 a.m., make sure you're not here. Now, my pride kicked in like, yo, you don't know me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can handle myself. Like, I'm not some little church boy who ain't never seen nothing. Like, I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what you talking about? It's probably 12:30. I'm downstairs. I go downstairs to the studio. I come up out the studio and I'm headed back upstairs to like the main area where everyone's kind of congregating and hanging out. And the music changed. It was like really hard and heavy at first, and then, you know, like jam and dancing music. It was a little softer, you know, it was a little more sensual when I came out the studio and started going upstairs. And on my way upstairs, there's like this couch. On the couch, I saw a couple of guys really going at it, hard and heavy. And man, and I was like, oh, you know, my brain, I'm thinking, well, you know, this celebrity party, people do what they do. As I started moving upstairs, I passed them up and I noticed that it wasn't just those two guys. It was more and more people just going at it. I was like, okay, it's time for me to roll. I'm going to grab my stuff and I'm going to get up out of here. I did not know that's how this went down. So was that shocking? Absolutely. Was I forced or coerced into anything? I was not. But why they felt that comfortable, I don't know. Maybe the invite list, they was like, yeah, all these people, I don't know.
Then in a podcast after that, he says, oh, I was never at a freak off. I was never at a sexually charged party.
I'm the one that told you I was there. You didn't find out from any other source. I told you I was at a party, but it wasn't a freak off. I ain't never been to a freak off. I've never been to any party in Hollywood ever where there was something sexual happening, ever. Not one time in my career.
You sure about that?
Was I at parties? Yeah, I've been to parties, a couple of them. It was definitely in a darker season of my life, but either way, it wasn't a party where people was wilding out and freaking off.
Is it just me, or is he contradicting himself? But if you see a bunch of bisexual people and just people in general just having sex at a party, what do you call that then? You might have been at a freak off and you didn't know it.
No.
That was my only issue with that. I'm glad that he opened up to us about it. This also confirms his insecurity of wanting to please people. Do you really need to go that far to make it in the mainstream? Do you need to constantly meet with these people? You already have a name, Lecrae. You already have awards. I'm sure you might have did some things to get those awards that might have involved talking with multiple mainstream artists and doing all these collaborations and kind of diluting the content in order to make it more personal to you and make it relatable to other listeners, even though they're not Christian. I understand it, but was it really worth it? His music is still good to this day. It just gives me a different feeling. Like even his most recent album with Miles Minnick, it just don't feel the same. I feel like it's similar to Drake, where he's kind of riding the coattails of new artists just so that he can keep his name and his buzz going, because Lecrae is not young and he's got bars. He's still rhyming just as good as he did back in the day, if not better, but it just doesn't have the same feeling to it, you know. It just, I can't explain it. But with that being said, I love Lecrae, I respect him, and I wish nothing but the best for him. And I hope that he keeps evolving as an artist, but not just as an artist, as a Christian and as a human being. I hope that he gets more knowledge about the Bible and the knowledge that he needs to uplift people and encourage people. Like I really respect what he's doing with his podcast and with his music, you know. So I'm a big fan, and I hope one day I can meet him, and I hope maybe in the future might be able to collab, you know, but only God knows. So this is your boy Dorian Andrews, aka Dory Darrell, with the Dory Darrell Music Channel. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe to all the latest news coming to this channel. I got an album coming out on August 8th. It is called Graduation, the Full Ceremony, and it's featuring Dre Murray, Christian hip-hop legend himself, my brother Moonlight Antonio, who does K-pop news and reviews. I hope you guys enjoy it. Also, my single Yamashita Park, the alternate mix with Dre Murray, is our first collab EP together, and all instrumentals are self-made by your boy, yours truly, and so far it's been getting good reviews. So thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you guys next time. All right, this is your boy signing out. Deuce.